All right, so I've got a new layout this time. I'm going to do a little bit different. Um, what, give me just a moment here. I hate it when it's not lined up by sections here. There we go. That's going to be much better. All right, so this is part two of well, it's not just the Mercury transit through Aries, but we're going to talk about the big transit. And I've got a few things in here. But first, let's start with the recap. Oh, and I am going to discuss just a couple of placements where you want to look in your turn and see if you've got it. Let's see here, because I mean, this videos it's longer than I expected it to be, but so just a moment here, and I got my notes, which it's been so much nicer to put my notes together, and some of the notes I have on here too. So, all right, so we're gonna do a little recap first, and now we talked a little bit about Mercury and Aries. So there's that caution and aggressive and vulgar communication and arguments and being more, aware of what comes out of our mouth because things are going to be a little bit heated. Um, for some people would be more talkative, more social, which is nice. Again, and fiery, because Aries is very fiery. And then here I have, and I'm going to be posting some of these, like the stuff that I put together and designed individually. This is pics and stuff that I've pulled out from that I made for the video. And I'm liking the setup better than what I had used last time in the first part of the video. And I'm also testing out a new headset. Um, let's see here, and the new moon. Got the new moon today, and the down there it's just Aries is it's about action. Aries is a very action oriented sign. It's cardinal. Cardinals about action, power. They usually start something or the beginning of something. So the beginning of a new lunar cycle, it's a time for new beginnings, fresh starts, positive change, and getting rid of the things that you don't need. A good time for planning and setting goals, and applying action towards those goals, not just making them, but actually being proactive. And this now here's the thing though with the new moon that we got going on is actually with is at 27 degrees. Now it's going to be conjunct Chiron at 26 degrees. Now the stellium of Saturn, Neptune, Mars, and Mercury, that's at a 7 degrees, so it's kind of like a split stellium. But again, a stellium is like when you have three or more planets in a sign. Now, Chiron is not a planet; it's an asteroid. So like a lot of times when you're looking like, oh, it's a planet. No, it's an asteroid. So like whenever I'm looking at charts and I'm looking at like stelliums and conjunctions, planetary conjunctions, I don't include asteroids, but they are significant though. So of course, Chiron. Those who don't know, Chiron is a wounded healer, heal thyself. Right now, it's in Aries, getting ready to go into Taurus. So it's that wound that we come in this lifetime, and it's a wound that we're always having to constantly attend to. Because Chiron was the half brother of Hercules, and during a battle, Hercules accidentally nicked him with one of the arrows that he had to use for one of his 12 trials, and it wounded Chiron, and it took away his immortality, and it was a wound that he always had to always attend to. So, it's a very neat story. It talks about different like the light and dark aspects of life and death and embracing embracing like the inevitable or something that that you had no control over. Again with your wounds, so having to heal to it. And Chiron, he's a healer, he's a warrior and a healer. Well, he was a centaur. All the centaurs are warriors and healers. Again, like what Sagittarius is. And of course the sun and moon. When the sun and moon's in the same sign, that's a new moon. When the sun and moon are in the opposite signs, that's a full moon. So when the sun's like right now is in Aries, when it goes like in Libra, that's considered a full moon. But when they're in the same sign, it's a new moon. And yep. And then let's see, when they're at the same degree, that's when they're at that apex. That's when they're at that that most potent. Um, and here we got going on with the new moon conjunct to Chiron. It's gonna be because Chiron with the moon, because your moon's your dreams and your feelings and your emotions, and so everything's going to be just so amplified, because the sun's there too to heat everything up, and it's going to be making anything in Aries is going to be making a square to Jupiter, and Jupiter has a way of maximizing things, and it can maximize it for it could be good or bad. It depends if you can work through the energies and everything, and then squares can actually be very very beneficial and very like not just good learning lessons, but a way to make things, learn how to make things more harmonious in your life. Sometimes you might have to go through like an intense moment or struggle or trials and tribulations, but eventually at the end of it, there's a better understanding. Um, so, and people that have like Chiron in certain placements, they're affected by it, especially when it comes to dreams and things within the other realm of things like eighth house, 12th house, fourth house. But then being conjunct the moon, people might be having some really intense dreams and dreams that could, be based on the foundation of needing to go through healing, needing to understand their personal spiritual evolution. And God, open up sirens. It's noon and sirens are going off. Your hidden feelings and everything. Your soul identity, because the moon has a, also with the sun is also linked in with your soul. The moon's kind of like it's like your soul within the soul. Because your moon governs your emotions and your feelings, and the sun is a representation of your soul self. And see here we've got, and then Aries energy. What is Aries energy? It's bold, restless, and full of momentum. It's a sign that moves through life with confidence and quick decisions, rarely waiting for permission. For anybody that has children with Aries moons, you probably might know this. Like your child doesn't ask for anything; it just does it. They really very independent. They think that they are fully in charge of themselves. Even Aries sun sign children can be that way too. But I've noticed it a lot with Aries moon children. Their energy pushes out or pushes others to act, or it just pushes it. Yeah, it pushes others to act, and it's also about action. Being and that movement to take risks, believe in themselves. Even Aries carries a strong presence that feels motivating and fearless. I love Aries. Aries is one of my favorite signs. They very rarely ever on my shit list out of the fire signs, but I dig Aries. Aries is there's a lot of really amazing qualities about Aries that they if you really get to know when if they're not too dark sided. But they And what I like the most about Aries is like they because it's the self, it's the I am, it's that first house, and you got to think the chart. The first house would be like where your third eye is. And what they like about Aries is like not only are they headstrong, but they have a way of like they worry about self. Like, they say they're going to do what they need to do for themselves, but then if you ever need anything, they're like Virgo. They're very action oriented, coming in to help. Um, you know they um they usually again they're really strong in like governing, so they're not too overly bossy how like Sag and Leo can be, but I mean they can be, don't get me wrong, they can be, but a lot of times they are very much about self in a sense of what they need to do, and their own personal dynamics of who they are within themselves, because again it represents the I am. And I had added this in here. This added this first part of the video. Um, so yes, this is a very rare and powerful alignment because we have all this going on in Aries, and Aries being the first sign, the start, the spark. It's the head. It's the um, it's what's birthed into this existence of the starting. The lays out the groundwork. Um, so here we go with this. So we have it's actually one, two, three, four. Yeah, two, three, yeah, 6 planets with Chiron, and that would some people consider seven, but it's six. Um, the little chart thing that I had made it was just in here, and that's supposed to be the moon right there. And tell everybody learn the symbols. The symbols. We got Jupiter in Cancer, we got Uranus. It's right now it's at like 29 degrees. Of course, it's gonna be moving back into Gemini. There's Venus is in its home placement right now, which is nice because Mars is in its home placement. Our sign that rules in Aries, and then Venus is in a sign that rules in Taurus. So they're both they're both aligned where they need to be, which is nice. I am gonna talk a little bit about Lilith. And there's Pluto. Pluto's about 1-2 degrees in Aquarius, and we got the nodes here, north and south node. They're gonna be moving into the Aquarius Leo axis here in a few months. But right now, let's see here. Jupiter right now is making a square to Aries, and anybody that's got anything in Libra is going to be making an opposition to this planetary alignment, so you will get hit with this as well. If you have any planets around 20, I'd say from 20 to 29, 30, or 20 to 29 degrees, you're definitely going to be getting hit with the influence of like the Sun, Moon, and Chiron conjunction. If you have any planets around 7 degrees, so from like say 0 to maybe more like actually 0 to 10, 11, 12 degrees around in there. You're going to be getting hit with that as well. If you have any other planets you have any planets in your chart around 7 degrees or any planets around 26 or 7 degrees, there's going to be a little bit of influence on those planets, even if they're not in, say, like Aries. But Libra's going to definitely feel this opposition. Sun, Moon, Rising planets there. Um, let's see here. Capricorn and Cancer are going to fill it in squares, so they're definitely going to be affected by it. Really beneficial for other fire signs and air signs, because air signs, they're in opposition to the fire, and they time each other, and then fire signs, they all sextile each other, which are good aspects. We'll get into that here too. And that's not in the right spot. That's okay though. So we're gonna go back here. So let's talk a little bit about this this alignment we got going on. So it's called the cosmic restart, and it's doing a restart because Aries is the start, the beginning. It's we've got Saturn there, which is the physical reality of things, the third dimension, rules third dimension. We got Neptune, which is the illusions, dreams, the dream realm, but it's like the subconscious. It's like the conscious and subconscious. So things within the subconscious bring into the reality of this consciousness, and so it's like a restart. It's like a redo, a reassessment, like a okay. Let's okay. It's like let's start this over again, but this time let's get it right. Let's see. Let's go back here. Let's leave it there for right now. So it signifies an intense, rare, and collective opportunity to initiate a new cycle. It's like a 14-year cycle. It's about the definition. It's like just defining things more, action, and your personal authenticity, which is one of the most highest vibration. So Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, represents initiation, the self, and the raw energy, and the concentration of multiple planets there act as a super ignition point for a complete life overhaul. Now, stelliums, they're usually rare, especially people have types of stelliums are rare. I won't say that the stelliums in general are rare, because I actually have a lot of charts with a lot of indigo, and especially children have a lot of huge stelliums that make like bowls in their chart. So stellium occurs when multiple planets are gathered in one sign or house. So you could have planets in one house, but say in another sign, that's still considered a stellium. So in mid-April, the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron are all going to be conjunct together with asteroid Eris. We'll get into that. So of course, astrologers knowing that this is highly creating its type of stellium. So its occurrence it initiates a profound cycle of rebirth, because again, Aries is a start. It's when you birth into this existence, into this life. So a shift from processing into action. The energy moves people from wanting to creating. It's characterized as a do or die, a moment that encourages the ending of old habits and the immediate, bold pursuits of desires. Now, the 0 degrees that when Neptune and Saturn are at 0 degrees, that was in February. That was a kickoff point for them for the starting of that. Now, the Neptune and Saturn meeting, specifically, it's at the 0 degrees, because that's a creation point. Is 0 degrees. It marked it like a 35-year cycle called the Genesis moment, and here's the thing though, like in Vedic astrology, your planets in your natal chart takes up to 36 years to mature. So with this Genesis moment, it's starting a 35-year cycle, kind of lines in with the whole, like you're maturing over planets in Vedic that mature around 36 years. So a Genesis moment is where new structure and beliefs are built. And we're doing that now in society and in the collective, especially with new information and being reprogrammed deprogramming from the program we brought up with, and learning the truth of things within not only our lives, but around the world and history and everything. Now, the warrior energy, which is Mars, and the ruler of Aries, is in his home sign. During this period, giving people the drive to cut away what's no longer aligned to them, and initiate a new independent path. Now, realignment of self, right? We're gonna get to a spot here where we're gonna talk about like the it's like almost like a redo or restart. Now, this period is viewed as a karmic reset for individuals, how individuals view themselves, urging them to move away from outdated roles towards a more authentic, empowered self, and life. In essence, the 2026 stellium, this Aries stellium, is the cosmic restart because it provides an energetic green light to stop repairing and start living a new personally driven chapter. So get busy living and actually be more action oriented in your life and your pursuits of passion and everything. Start going after the things that you want in your life. Start bringing your dreams into reality. Now this sixth planet stellium in Aries brings an intense it's an intense cosmic reset because it's flooding the collective with a fiery energy for action, courage, bold beginnings. This massive high pressure alignment that has also Chiron and Uranus involved with it often increases risks of impatience and conflict. So things can definitely kind of like amp things up. The stellium marks a massive Aries overload, acting like a rocket fuel for personal and collective transformation. Now, some of the key themes to think about is the focus of new beginnings and identity shifts, and a need for courage. So get rid of fears and the holding back and the excuses. The shadow side of this is potential for road rage, online arguments, and quick hasty decisions. Because you remember we got Uranus getting ready to go into Gemini, which is communication and social media and devices and computers and all that. And we got Jupiter, which maximizes banks too, Cancer. So key timing. So everything's peaking right now on the 17th. And it's like a quarter way through from after the equinox. And with Saturn and Neptune anchoring the stellium here, the energy encourages a grounding of these new beginnings. So this period is to act as like a party in Aries that can overwhelm individuals with decisions. Now the planet Uranus, gosh, it's kind of warm in here. Yeah, I'm sorry, the asteroid Uranus. She's the goddess of discord. With the apple. She's a warrior too. So it's a dwarf planet representing discord, strife, and the marginalized outsider. As a goddess of chaos, she highlights an extreme competition, social justice, and fierce individualism. And her placement in the chart shows where you can act as a rebel and challenge authority or experience an intense personal transformation. Now, the discord and strife of Eris is exposing hypocrisies, brings a new necessary chaos to initiate change, so sometimes chaos is necessary. The marginalizing of person, she represents the black sheep or those who have been disrespected and are fighting back. Now, the fierce independence. Now, being in Aries, she'll be moving into Taurus. I should put that out. But anyways, she initiates like the warlike spirit, particularly in women's rights and personal autonomy. The shadow self of this is she can act as an ego slayer, often bringing uncomfortable truths to the surface, which is good actually. Now the conjunction with Uranus often amplifies the energy of the planet. So where if you have that asteroid conjunct like your sun, your moon, Venus, it's going to amplify things. It's famously associated with the 2005 demotion of Pluto because she's actually aspects or she actually transits around the orbit of Pluto, and the sign's actually kind of similar to Pluto. But anyways, so Pluto is currently in a long-term square with she's in a long-term square with Pluto, but I still consider Pluto a planet. The whole demotion of Pluto, that's a whole other thing I'm not going to get into, but it irritates the shit out of me. So anyway, so making a square there, so creating a generation focused on the fall and rise of power structures. Eris associates with being of the other or recognizing the other in social situations. Like that's the norm. And let's see here. And oh yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna look into. So if you have your sun, moon, your rising sign, your Venus, your Saturn, and I've got some, and I'm made a lot of stuff here visual, so you can also read off the chart, but or off the screen. So your Sun, Moon, rising in Aries, a Venus in Aries, a Saturn in Aries, which we go with your Saturn return. Have fun with that. Saturn does not like being in Aries either. And your natal chart. So and also look to see where you have Aries at. I have Aries in my 10th house. Fun times, and it's going to be in opposition to my Pluto. Even more fun times. So anyways, so with the ascendant, it's going to be about a reality check with your emotions. It's going to be about an emotional rebirth. If you have it in your sun sign, it's your restriction of your identity. If you have it in Venus, it's going to be about relationships and self-worth. and Saturn is going to be about your personal authority. Now, with the cosmic reset, we have oh, I know, I wish I wouldn't do that, but I can't see up there. But anyways, so it's amplified energy together. So there they are sitting there. And the last time they were conjunct in Aries was in 1702. Now, again, we talked about the dreams of the subconscious bringing to the reality. That's Saturn and Neptune. I think just beautiful planets. And here we go. I might get into. I might actually do the same or the Chandra symbols. I might do that separate. I'm still debating on that one. So this transit, so how it affects your house and placements in your chart, especially Sun, Moon, Rising. Now, if you've got anything in Gemini, Aquarius, the stellium is going to be in a sextile, which is good. And I thought I had put this here. So yeah, I thought I had put them in my notes. I might have taken them out. Or actually, no, I did put them in my notes, but oh, I thought I was missing something here. New notebook here. And okay, so in Aquarius and Gemini, it's going to be sextiling, which is going to be supportive and it creates opportunities and growth. And Leo and Sagittarius, it's going to be making a trine, which initiates talents and an easy flow. And it's going to be making a square to Cancer and Capricorn. Now, sextiles, it's going to be learning easy flow, and social advantages, and acts as it's a potential. So over here, I put this up there. I should have made it bigger. So, if it an oppositions are not bad. Oppositions are actually pretty good. I put that in my notes here. Now, if you have any conjunctions of these planets, it's going to amplify things. Squares are hard challenge. They're going to be hard aspects or challenges. The energy could be competing and very enforcing, forcing you to develop, and also to compromise and overcome obstacles and to be resilient when you have it. If you have anything in square to it, in aspects, we try to give everybody my Akashic astrology to understand aspects better. A conjunction, it's a bold energies combined force. It's like combined forces, and it amplifies and it charges it up, and it's a very powerful aspect, super powerful aspect. So, like for example, Hazel, let me use you as an example. Hazel, you've got Aries, you've got your Mercury and Venus in Aries, and so this is it's the conjunction that's just gonna amplify all of that energy there. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that one-on-one. So when you have that conjunction of any of this, in Aries to any of your natal planets, it's gonna it does amplify, optimism and growth and confidence, which is great, especially if you're an Aries sun sign, Sun, Moon, Rising. Oppositions is like a tug of pull power back and forth. It could it could be competing, and it's having to need to balance out the energy. So with Libra's relationship, Aries is self and independence. So like that balance, being able to not be too much in one or the other. Especially if you have any planets in like Libra, it's gonna be doing that too, that back and forth, of trying to balance things out. So yeah, so it's like about effort and your personal stress and attraction, and so there's that there. So, and I might just do my sextiles and the other sexual main aspects here. And let's go through here for a moment. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about. So if you have your Sun, Moon, Ascendant, which is your rising, Venus or Saturn, and this. And here I've got my notes for this. And just a moment here. I'm trying to get my handwriting better so I can read my own handwriting better. All right, here we go. So if I'm gonna start with the moon. So if you have a moon in Aries, Um, it's gonna mark a profound total rebirth period. It forces you to redefine a redefinition of your emotional strengths and desires, and merging impulsive actions, which is influenced by Mars, with your spiritual sensitivity, Neptune, and of course, and restriction, because Saturn restricts things, hold things back. So expect emotional vitality, high creativity, and a crucial career and inner shifts. Mars, so the Mars conjunct Neptune and Saturn. Um, Peak of it, it's through the 20th. Um, Hold on, let's see. Make sure I did. Okay, make sure I did that right. Okay. So it's high octane energy. Now Neptune is a higher octave of the moon, which is interesting, and Venus is in there as well. But anyways, so it's a high octave energy that brings a mix of confusion and motivation, linked to moments of immense creative inspiration or frustration. Two steps forward, one steps back scenarios. Emotional intensity. Your natal moon, which is your emotions and your needs, is triggered by the warrior, which is Mars, and the mystic, which is Neptune, leading to things to be intense and direct, and possibly it can be confusing with your emotions. So you need to be redefining your strengths. This configuration asks you to stop relying on the force alone. It is a period to balance impulsive desires with strategic restraint, learning to act intentionally rather than reacting defensively. Now, if you have your sun in Aries, happy birthday to all the Aries. Love you guys. You guys are the best. Um, it's gonna mark for a total rebirth of new beginnings. Urging you to leave behind old and outgrown scripts and ways of being, and embrace a new authentic self-expression. Um, how to navigate. You want to be patient. Avoid rushing into major decisions if you feel confused, because Neptune will do that. Neptune will blow hot smoke up your ass and kind of make things kind of that dream. Because Neptune takes you out of your reality. Neptune takes you out of like the TV's Neptune, getting high, music, all that takes you out of like now that puts you in that it rolls over in like psychedelic stuff. Anything puts you out of the physical reality of now, that's Neptune. And Neptune will do that. Um, then you want to channel this energy into something creative and spiritual, and use the emotional intensity for something like art, artistic, like pursuits, spiritual practices or spiritual learning of things. Also doing things that you're passionate about and directly towards your goals. Watch your words. Watch words, with action, because Mercury's there, so you don't want to be too impulsive and um, so you don't want to be high talking your actions too, and um, you also want your communication to be aimed for like clear and concise communication to avoid any unnecessary conflicts. The energy is high. The energy is high itself in your natal. Oh, I'm sorry. Did it? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on the moon still. I'm sorry. The energy is the highest in your natal moon. If it's in around the degrees 0 to 5. Um, no, I'm gonna say 0 to like 8 or 9 degrees. That's with the Saturn, Neptune, Mars, and Mercury degrees, and then of course if you've got anything at 26 or 7, that's going to be more influenced by the Sun, Moon, and Chiron. Um, but it's going to be very potent if you got anything in the early degrees of Aries. Um, where did I? Let's see here. Then I had my notes here. I could do a lot better at this. I really can. Okay, so yeah, so with the sun, so yeah, you want to be patient and avoid rushing into major decisions if you feel confused. That's where I left off at. Sorry. You want to channel energy into something good and something that you're passionate about. Um, let's see here. So when it's conjunct your sun, it's going to be a once in a lifetime Genesis moment. It forces you into massive reconstruction of your identity, your drive, which is Mars, your authority, which is Saturn, blending it in with the octane of the dreaminess and the mystical, stuff of Neptune and your creative artistic self. Expect to redefine your path as well, likely involving significant like career choices and personal stuff. There could even be some personal slowdowns that you might need to take for a moment to address, and to refine and rebuild your long-term goals and stuff. So you might have to take a pause, take a Neptune pause. The Neptune in the charts, the Hangman might take a Hangman moment and kind of redefine some things and kind of just recalculate. So with the conjunct your sun, all this, since this happens in your natal sun, you want to focus on your ego, your vitality, and your life purpose. Remember, ego is not bad, and you don't ever want to do death ego. Ego is about you want to evolve the ego. You want to heal those cracks of practice of it in it, and have the true confidence. Your vitality and your life purpose. Sorry, perfect. Per- purpose. Sorry about that. You are being forced to take full responsibility for your life, especially if you have been holding back and making excuses, or not doing things that that you've been driven to do. So you want to you want to take charge of your spiritual authority. And Neptune there's calls for you to take the lead, take charge of your own spiritual path rather than following others. Now, if you have, that's really warm in here. It's funny outside. Your ascendant. Oh, I just remembered. I have There we go. Here we go. There we go. So your sun, moon, rising. There you go. So so your sun, is your identity. Moon's inner self, and then your mask, your first impressions is your ascendant. So anyways, so if you have Aries ascendant, signifies a major life changing with reconstructing and merging intense action and spiritual um, fogginess and and disciplinary type themes. You're redefining your identity. So, and this is now. Let's say you're a Pisces rising late degree, but your whole first house is in Aries. This applies to you as well. So you want to be balancing your ambition and of course, boundaries, facing intense career and personal scrutiny, and merging your dreams with practical reality. Now, the Genesis moment with the ascendant is blending your reality, which is Saturn, with your dreams and illusion, which is Neptune, and this is a reality check regarding long-term dreams and personal goals. Um, Now, with the Mercury conjunction there, mental clarity could be hazy because we've got Neptune fucking it up. But when you merge Saturn, it can lead to a deep, serious, communication, not only with yourself, but maybe that you need to have like with somebody just to help, reconstruct, refigure things out. So it talks about the squeeze of Saturn. You may question if your current career image or path is worth the squeeze or the effort. So take that pause. Boundary setting. Boundary setting is a huge thing, especially if you're a late degree freaking Pisces with the first house Aries. You are reevaluating your boundaries in your life, and particularly concerning your identity and how you present yourself to the world. Um, because we've got the sun there. And actionable vision, which is Mars. So, the energy, is it's being action oriented. So, this energy allows for you to, turn tangible dreams into tangible realities, providing that you can overcome the initial confusion or feeling of being stuck. Now, for those of you who have Venus in Aries, my daughter has Venus in Aries. Venus in Aries people are quite interesting. They're so passionate and just driven and just love. Just kind of like Taurus and Venus too. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Venus and Taurus. But anyways, so this real stellium is gonna ignite a powerful and high stake and complex period for you guys. You'll likely feel intense friction between being impulsive and fire desires and passions. Because that Venus Mars there energy. Um, yeah, you have some limitations because of Saturn Neptune, forcing you to act on your dreams in a mature, strategic, and disciplined way. Thanks to Saturn. Um, so, like some key things to keep in mind with Venus and Aries is intense love and desires. Venus and Aries is already passionate. Adding Mars brings in high intensity and boldness, sexuality, and all that there as well. Potential conflicts in relationships. Oh yeah, big time there. You may feel the need to fight for your desires or to take an initiative in love, or to reevaluate your take in love or your relationships. You may think, okay, this is not working for me, or I'm getting starting to stick, or we're not compatible, or I need to find myself more, or I deserve better in love, or I need to be more passionate, and this is holding me back. That stuff might come up. Now, the incubation period, the conjunction with Saturn and Neptune suggests your desires feel restricted or delayed, are subject to a major reality check. It is time to separate unrealistic fantasies from long-term tangible goals in love and even with money. So refocus there. Um, Decisive but confused action. With Mercury and the mixed communication is direct at times. It could be pretty. It could be some fighting, some words with your partner. And so things could get volatile. It could be vulgar. Confusion because Neptune. Will turn into profound clarity after a bit. With the grounding of Saturn, it requires learning to navigate the spaces between talking and action, and taking action and waiting for the right moment. High stakes and decisions. This configuration, this is with Mars, Saturn, Neptune mix. Option means like decisions made now that will be permanent. Okay. So consequences. It's like the moment for setting foundations for your future regarding relationships and self worth. So remember, I'm gonna say that again. It's about the moment of setting foundations for your future regarding your relationships and your self worth, and not only just love relationships, all relationships, even with your friends, family, people, everybody. So, in short, this is a time for passive love, and it is a time for to fight for your dreams and with a realistic, strategic, and grounded plan. You don't want to get too woohoo in the head. You want to be realistic and practical and strong and what you truly desire, and don't put up any shit and don't take anything less. And get out of relationships with people that's not serving any good, either to you, to them, or them to you. Now we're gonna end this with Saturn. Let's see. I don't have more stuff on here, more juicy stuff. Yes. Yep, there we go, Uranus. I'll leave that there for you guys. So, have this conjunction with Mars and Mercury, Saturn, Neptune conjunct your natal Saturn and Aries. Um, creates a profound high pressure like Genesis moment. It's a rare, massive Aries stellium that demands you to redefine. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little bit of some technical difficulties. You would think that Mercury was retrograding right now, but I think it's just maybe getting hot and heated and overloaded and Aries. So, and I apologize for the in and out for the new microphone and stuff on my headphone. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna redo the Saturn conjunction in natal, because and actually that's very significant, especially for those having a Saturn return in Aries, and considering that Saturn is this is very significant to have Saturn return with it being conjunct with Neptune during this whole cosmic Genesis restart. So I'm gonna go ahead and it's gonna be a little bit lengthy. It's gonna be kind of a little bit longer than the others, but I'm gonna go into some details. So if you have Saturn and Aries in your chart in the early degrees, this is gonna be very significant for you. And since the video, it's a very long video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make some posts about with Lilith and Eris, and and I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna make a post. I actually might do a separate video about the degrees, and which are kind of like the saving, a little bit different, a little bit. I like these ones better. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the Saturn conjunction with the cosmic reset and the whole Genesis with this, and we'll close it out from there. All right, so. Okay, so there's a very rare and it's a very intense Aries stellium going on right, Aries stellium going on right now, not stellium, with the Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Mercury. Now, yes, the Sun and New Moon and Chiron and things, but we're going to focus on just these four personal and main planets. Besides the Sun and Moon. So with it conjuncting in your natal Saturn, it's going to be very profound. It's a structural reset, forcing you to maturely align with your actions. Um, and also with your long-term goals. This transit forces a hard collision between impulsive desires, which is Aries, and restrictive responsibility, which is Saturn, and demanding a new, mature approach to leadership and independence and your own personal willpower. Now, some things, key things to take from this. About action and restriction and contradiction, because that's the Mars conjunct Saturn, and because Saturn's limitations, and then of course Mars's desire and passion, all that. Aries feels like it's accelerating while parked, causing like immense pressure and frustration. Now this is a fall of Saturn. Saturn is exalted in Libra, but it's in its fall in Aries, so it doesn't. It's not very. It doesn't like being in the sign at all. So so there could be some a little bit of some complications. Um, Saturn here, it struggles to build structure, meaning it's like time to work harder and more strategically rather than rushing into impulsive action. Um, Now, when it comes like karma and your responsibility, because Saturn rules over karma, you are likely to reevaluate your life directions, your life choices, like moving forward from where you're at in this present time, and taking responsibility for your actions. Learning to assert yourself without needing to, have external validation. It's about maturing. Saturn's very much, it rules over Capricorn, which is like older siblings, but it is about responsibility and integrity as well. And it's about like a new reality structure for yourself. The Saturn Neptune conjunction is a very long term, profound like reorientation, because Saturn's going to be here for 2 years. Neptune's going to be there for like 14, 16 years, depending on the retrogrades. Now it's going to be like a reorientation of your reality, forcing you to like turn dreams into concrete actions. Like, that's Neptune, that's dreams. Now, your eternal realignment, you may experience like a deep shift from where you no longer want to follow old scripts and choosing instead to define your own path. Your own, just, and that's very much, that's Aries energy, hardcore. In Mars, you may feel uncomfortable and foggy at times, and that's because of Neptune. Now, what to watch for is you want to watch out for like anger versus logic, because that's going to be Mars, and logic is going to be Mercury, especially during like in April. It can bring like higher tension and feelings of being drained. Rely on logic and being over impulsive, and emotional outbursts. I'm sorry about the deleting, but I forgot to turn my notifications off. Um, Now, slippery thoughts. Mercury, is good for that. Mercury, rules your thoughts and your thought process and everything. And with Neptune, there can kind of make things hazy. Now, can make it hard to focus. So you need to clarify your plans in writing than just relying on like remembering them, because Neptune will definitely make you like airhead, or kind of make you kind of like whoo, like heads in the clouds, because Neptune rules over not being aware in the third reality, or the 3D reality of things. Um, so you don't rely on being like idealistic in your thoughts. This period is not punishment, but it's a cosmic opportunity to build something that's meant to last, because that's Saturn, built to last, and Mars is very much about building. Now it's the rare stellium, which is a very rare transit we're going through. Um, Especially with the conjunction your natal Saturn. It's a very powerful and intense, and it's restrictive period where impulse for action and massive structure and new long term of your vision, which is a combination of all four of them. So you are urged to stop like operating on impulse, to rephrase to your long term goals and take responsibility for your ambition. Now the action versus restriction, the stop go stop go. You may feel like you're trying to drive with the parking brake on. Your intense desires to forge ahead. That's Aries. That's Mars and Aries. But you may be confronted by delays and necessary structural changes, which is Saturn. Um, need like forcing to have a more calculated approach in your actions. Now, the reality check on dreams, that's Saturn Neptune conjunction. There's a defining moment for restructuring your life, forcing a blend of discipline and action. And discipline, that's Saturn, and action, of course, that's Mars. And your dream ideas, that's Neptune. You may be letting go of like unrealistic dreams, tangible and build on more tangible and solid ideas within your reality. Bring a new sense of maturity to your aspirations. Um, Now, mental focus, this is going to be dealing with Mercury and Aries. Oh boy, this is fun. Again, watch your communication. Things, things are going to be real fiery here. So your communication can be more direct, because sometimes Aries can be hard, rough around the edges and harsh. You can be quick and assertive. Um, you need to be a little bit more strategic, and also, and don't tap too much into your anger. Now, with an eternal like realignment with that, your natal Saturn impact. These planets that are hitting your natal Saturn, it's a period of like, it's very profound, and it's a 31-year cycle of a turning point to reset your personal authority in life and structure structure within yourself and within your life. So discipline and new beginnings. And new beginnings is huge. This whole cosmic realignment and cosmic reset is about new beginnings and making new beginnings. So this energy is it's designed to make you move away from wanting the right time to create things and to do things. Um, so you want to be more action oriented, because that Mars, but so you want to find your inner power to become more reliant and strategic, and also action oriented with your endeavors. It's not about giving up, but testing your commitment and building long lasting foundations within your life, and a legacy as well, because Saturn, that's legacy. Control your emotional energy as much as possible. It's time for logic and action, not emotional reactions. And when so like we were talking about the cosmic genesis, it brings a powerful once in a lifetime structural overhaul, because that's Saturn, and purpose, and that's Aries, requiring you to ground your dreams, Neptune, and to assert action, which is Mars, and then being a strategic planning, that's going to be Mercury. Now this whole thing is like, it's all about like the new Earth foundation, right? Or new, yeah, the new Earth's personal foundation. So it's not just a transit, but it's also a start of there's a 31-year cycle, and there's a 36-year cycle with Saturn Neptune, with the Saturn Neptune cycle. Um, and when it hits your natal chart, you are personally rewriting your blueprint. You're forging new identity, new ideas, building accordingly to what you're passionate about, because that's Mars, and that's Aries. So the cosmic initiation, pretty much, the cosmos is initiating you into something, into a higher realm of being, higher vibration of things. So complete the rejuvenation, and how you're gonna start to assert yourself more, and also don't forget about your boundaries, because Saturn's very much about boundaries, and Neptune likes to get rid of them. So Saturn's gonna need to be there to restructure them with with that Neptune influence. You want to balance your drive and discipline. Drive, that's Mars. Discipline, Saturn. So with Mars joining Saturn, which is slow moving, Mars is quick. You may feel urgent need to like do projects, and Saturn makes demands like more patience and to be steady with your efforts, rather than go through things recklessly. With That's Mars. Um, Now there's a crucial question you might want to ask yourself. Are You are asked to answer. There's a question, so there's a crucial question. Okay, what am I building? Or I'm sorry, what am I willing to build when the old restrictive structure of my life dissolves? I'm gonna say that again. So this is the question that you're being asked to answer. What am I willing to build when the old restrictive structures of my life dissolve? So Neptune's dissolving, Saturn rebuild. Oh, that ding is driving me insane. I'm sorry. So expect, you want to redefine your long-term goals, career goals, life path goals. It's a cosmic homework assignment, basically, and like leadership maturity and self-definition, which is part of your self-sovereignty, not your self-sovereignty, but your whole of self, in the third, in this realm, and all, I mean, even all the other realms, because Neptune rules over all the other realms as well, like spiritual realm. So it's about leveling up to another level. So it's very significant. And those that have Saturn return, welcome into adulthood. You're now officially an adult. You're not an adult until you go have your rite of passage into adulthood. So between ages 29 and 31. And then those of you going through your second return, you guys are not only just not, you've already gone through your adult phase, but you've already completed the first phase of adulting, and so now here's the next phase. All right.